Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dizer. I'm here with my Gaming Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
Today we're talking about how burnout can affect weight loss. I've been wanting to do a burnout episode for a while. If you're not familiar with the term burnout, it's sort of a blanket term we use to describe complete physical exhaustion and mental exhaustion.
Yeah, mental, spiritual, emotional.
It's that feeling when you are so tired you can't move. That sort of comes with overwhelm is what most people associate it with.
Yeah, I more or less think of it as a physical thing. It affects my physicality, but I think that for myself and a lot of people that mental, emotional, spiritual burnout happens first, and then the physical symptoms show up.
Definitely. That's how I recognize it too. It's that inability to get yourself to move because of...
When you just can't even. There's nothing left.
Yeah, that's how we explain it. When you just can't even.
And you just can't regenerate. You can't get to the place where you have the energy to even get yourself going. It's just it's a wit's end. It's a burning at two ends for too long. It's a real... If you've ever been... It's hard to explain.
Well, it's miserable too, and I don't know, it's so miserable, and there's often no hope.
It's a self-made prison.
It is. And
every day you wake up and you just think, how am I still feeling like this? And it's really hard to even consider regenerating or doing or focusing on things or starting new projects, or it's hard to even think how you're going to get through the day sometimes.
Well, and it's stressful too because the conventional system doesn't have anything to really help. A lot of people come to me and say, I've been to my GP, I've been to multiple people, and they just, you're just a normal human. You're going through the regular fatigue that everyone goes through.
Or worse, they get misdiagnosed with depression and get prescribed antidepressants.
Exactly, which is probably the most common prescription for chronic fatigue syndrome. So there's a whole host of other problems with it. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of people who come to me with complete burnout, and we do a lot of great work, mostly around cortisol management, adrenaline management, regulating hormones, and helping, a holistic approach to healing.
Working with someone that knows what they're doing. I can honestly say when I had adrenal fatigue, if I had dealt with that myself because I was so in it, I think I just would have kept making the situation worse and worse, and I don't know if I could have come out of it. Mm-hmm. So having you to have the outside, here's what's going on, here's what you need to do, and then kind of laying out that plan for me, and just me just having to just do the bare minimum of just following through with what you were saying.
Yeah.
I think it's the only way I got out of it.
Now, you mentioned adrenal fatigue. You can call this whatever you want. We use the term adrenal fatigue because that's where cortisol, the hormone for energy, the hormone that's released in stress, the hormone that gets you up in the morning, that's where that's released, is in the adrenal glands. And a lot of people, especially the conventional community, will discount the term adrenal fatigue, even though in the last Medscape survey, 46% of physicians claim to be in burnout. So they're, claiming, this
Semantics.
Is burnout. Exactly.
It's what it is.
It could be because of cortisol mismanagement. And we do the testing all the time. Saliva testing is a really accurate test for systemic levels of cortisol, and we see that in some people we've got huge levels in the morning and really, really low levels at night. In some people we've got no release in the morning and then huge levels at night. We've got the flip. Mm-hmm. Some people would have complete flat line. So everyone's a little different, and just doing the one sample, the one blood cortisol sample, doesn't do anything for you. Anyhow, how can burnout affect weight loss? What happens on a journey when you hit that wall?
Well, your body just says... Your body's basically sending all the signals that it's stressed or that it's scared.
Right.
And in that, our bodies just hang on to body fat. And then all of our sensories go up because we're signaling we're in danger. So we're probably over emotional. We're, wiry awake. We're, a bit neurotic. Like all those things come up, and it just becomes impossible to lose body fat. On top of that, your stress and all those things are up, so you're making less conscious choices about your eating, and you're physically exhausted from running on this high-powered something's coming to get me, that you have no energy to devote to actual exercise.
Right.
So you're in this cycle, and it's basically impossible.
Yeah, it's a complex cycle. I mean, you're hitting all the high points. Inability to lose fat because of lack of metabolism. Inability to make conscious choice in the moment with regards to exercise and food because of overwhelm in the brain, specifically the prefrontal cortex. We did an episode on that a couple weeks ago. Stress can make it extremely difficult to make healthy choices. It's a real... It's
a cycle.
Difficult cycle to get into.
And get out of.
Once you're in it, yeah.
And it's a cycle. That's what's... And for me, came with it because I was physically and mentally and emotionally exhausted. I was trying to artificially jazz myself up. So when I was going through all this, I was drinking copious amounts of coffee.
Right.
And for me, coffee throws all my hormones off, and it literally just can't... It doesn't work with my body. Let's just say that. So I was consistently hanging on to, 7 pounds, and for someone that's 5'1", with a tiny, tiny bone structure, that's a whole size. Like, it's a big deal. And it wasn't comfortable. But I was, eating healthy and working out. And
more than ever, even.
Yeah, I was working out more. Because I was punishing myself because I wasn't getting the results. Because with an A-type personality, when you burn out, you punish yourself.
Right.
Because you can't believe that you're, quote-unquote, so weak. Or, so you push it further. Because you're like, I just need to go further.
Oh, it's a real shame cycle. I've been there too.
It's a real cycle. It's terrible. It really is. And I sympathize with anybody going through it.
If you're type A, you know how this feels. Because there's those times when, especially for me, it's when you're feeling sick.
Oh my god. That's how I usually recognize that I'm going to be sick. Because I start to get really anxious. And I start to think, I have to work harder. What am I not doing? Am I forgetting something? I should do more work. And then I'm thinking, what is going on? Why am I acting anxious? Because I'm pretty chill. And then all of a sudden I recognize, I have a bit of a fever. Or, I'm a bit overtired. Or...
Right. Yeah, definitely. So it's easy to recognize the symptoms of burnout. It's in your face, can't move. And like you said, usually because of some sort of overwhelm in the mind. In
saying that, I don't think I would have realized I was in burnout unless you told me. I thought I just... I got in that cycle of thinking, I just am being weak. I need to just work harder. I'm not seeing something. You
can see how easy it is for people to get diagnosed with anxiety disorders in that situation.
Right.
Because it's so easy for you to get diagnosed with
because I'm a much deal with my circumstances and myself type of person. And I think there's a lot of people, especially that I work with, a lot of women that are in that same boat.
Right. And if you write out all these symptoms and you say how you're feeling in this moment and you put it on a piece of paper and you compare it with, looking at the actual diagnostic criteria for, moderate depression or generalized anxiety disorder, it's going to be pretty close.
Well, the reality is when you're burnt out, you're anxious.
Yeah.
Anxiety goes up. And like I said, the fact that I was drinking coffee like it was water to try to get my energy physically, mentally, emotionally up was just adding to my burnout. It was just this vicious cycle. So yeah, if I didn't have the right support system, I probably would have been guided down the wrong path. Misdiagnosed, and then gosh knows where I would have ended up.
Definitely. In order to treat this, in order to get us back on track on the weight loss program, push past, actually not push past, but get through a plateau because of low energy, it's important to figure out what your cause is. There's many causes of burnout. Usually associated with stress, overwhelm, but also overwork, lack of sleep, these lifestyle components, lifestyle pillars that when they fall off, it's so much easier to slip into burnout, especially when it comes to nutrition lack of exercise and lack of sleep.
And then you have those blinders where you don't realize how off your nutrition actually is. And you're so exhausted that you're like, yeah, I'm doing everything great. But the reality is you're not.
No.
But it's hard to see.
It is, because it's extremely hard to be in the moment even. This is something we haven't even talked about. When you're in burnout, what I find is normally you're either cycling through anxiety about the future or the past.
That's exactly it.
And then that even adds to the inability to make conscious choice.
Because it's so true, and because you're not able to be in the moment at all. Yeah. You don't realize that what you're doing right now is creating the next moment.
A lot of my patients, I'll ask them, do you consciously focus on being in the moment, and what's that like for you, and what do you enjoy, and oftentimes that's something they haven't thought about. And people who I can see have cortisol mismanagement will be extremely stressed about the future, even though they're stressed. The things they ruminate on normally don't come true. That's a question I like to ask as well. Do these things normally come true? And yeah, it's just it doesn't play out. Or
sometimes they do, but it's because you're so focused on it.
Definitely, that's something to watch out.
You're actually moving towards it and moving it towards you. Mm-hmm. That's something I've been guilty of in the past.
Yeah, I think we all have. Mm-hmm. So what happens? I mean, so cause-wise, overwhelm, overwork, lack of sleep. This sort of help you need to go in terms of treatment.
Well, and there's chronic situations that we can't control. So I don't want to make it sound like everything is within our control. Because there were some things in my life that I could have controlled. I was actually, doing too much mental and emotional focus on my business, and was really, I wasn't creating balance. But I was also coming off, the chronic illness and then subsequent death of basically my favorite person in the world. So there's nothing that you can do. It's really hard to... There are things in life that you can't control. We don't want to make it sound like everything can be.
Oh, absolutely.
And there are times where you have to go through processes of grief or, those types of things. But what we are saying is, even if it is something as outside of you and out of your control as, the illness or death of someone, or things that are completely out of the realm of your control that are causing your burnout, there are still things you can implement to heal faster or to deal with the situation better.
Definitely. And in that situation, it might not be the best time to be on a weight loss journey.
Well, I always say this. There's never not a good time, first of all. Okay. Because the reality is, we use weight loss because that's what people Google. And that's what people want. And usually looking in the mirror is what drives us to want to change things. There's never not a good time to eat healthy. Mm-hmm. There's never not a good time to work out. Right. There's never not a good time to drink water. Unless, obviously, you're off with an injury. I'm not saying any of that.
Yeah, that's obvious.
But if I had, during the time, say, my father was sick and then passed away. If I had been eating proper nutrition, every day getting out for my exercise, and doing whatever, 10 minutes of spirituality each day, I would have been able to deal with that situation better.
Mm-hmm. Be much more easy to be in the moment as well.
So that's why I say to a lot of people, when you come into weight loss, you can have the desire to want to lose body fat. You can want to look sexy. You can want something as vain as, just to look hot naked. Yeah. That's fine. But we put that on the shelf. And right now we focus on feeling good and being healthy. Yeah. And that's never not a good time. It's always a good time.
That's right. That's right. And I can see how this plays out in burnout. Because I've been in burnout a couple times. I know what it feels like. And for you to say that, I can see, okay, now this is the self-care.
Yes.
Right? This is the self-care component.
And it's not chasing weight loss with anxiety. It's saying, I'm going to be healthy. I'm going to reveal my natural state of vibrant health. I'm going to reveal what's naturally latent inside of me and wants to come forward. And then my body is going to release whatever body fat should be shed, and I'm going to lie at that perfect body weight for me, and I'm going to feel amazing. Yeah. But you let go of, the goal. You let it set, and you know that it will just happen. Right. But you focus on healing and feeling good. That's the difference.
Exactly. So in that self-care component, it's directing your focus on feeling good. There's 4 hormones I want to talk about that we need to regulate when there's burnout. Especially if you're on a weight loss journey, but no matter what, it can be helpful. Cortisol, growth hormone, testosterone, and melatonin. How do we keep all these guys online when we're so fatigued? The number one thing is sleep. You need to sleep, and it needs to be quality sleep too. I'm talking dark room, extremely quiet, cool temperature.
And I resisted this for so long. I don't have time.
What's that anxiety?
You don't understand
right?
my life.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to make more time for this? You don't get it. Like, I was the queen of avoiding this. Then I did it. I surrendered. Okay, I'll commit to this and see what happens. And it literally changed my life. Yeah. It sets you in the right motion. It helps heal all your hormones. It's amazing, and it's so silly.
Well, I mean, aside from rebalancing cortisol and melatonin, which are extremely important in healing and immune system function, which is key to getting out of burnout, but also you're helping with a subtle release of growth hormone testosterone so that you can actually regenerate. If you have been working out, a lot of people work out through their burnout. I've been there. You don't heal properly. So you need to sleep to make sure that pattern is happening. But I'm talking a good sleep. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times it's this anxious, this running anxiety type sleep when we're in burnout. And it doesn't really help.
Yeah, setting up your room for success is big.
The next component is proper nutrition. And making good choices. And we've been talking about this a lot lately. Setting yourself up for success and just making it easy on yourself so that in times of, gosh, I can't decide what to eat. Gosh, my blood sugar is extremely low. Gosh, I'm so tired. I need calories, you know? Having simple things to go to. Having
only healthy things in your home is the main way to do that. When you can't think, but there's only healthy things to grab, you're going to go for healthy. Well, even if it's not a perfectly organized meal, it's better to just grab healthy food. And the other thing is, too, we all have to surrender to and become deeply rational with the idea there's never a good time to just go off the rails and hurt your body internally by eating junk. And especially if you feel bad. It's not a thing. No. You know, we've been sold that by the media and then looped into it by family patterns and all this stuff, and we just have to let it go. We have to become deeply rational and be like, okay, I'm hurting, so the best thing I can do for myself is do something kind. And the most kind thing you can do for yourself is drink water and eat healthy.
Oh, and the way you've set it up for me, because I go through times where it's difficult to avoid burnout, and I have to consciously make these decisions. One thing you've done for me is there is always pieces of fruit and handfuls of nuts and seeds around. Yeah, I mean, you can't avoid it. When I was young, and when I was in university, I would set myself up with granola bars and protein bars, and I thought I was really doing it right.
I know.
You know, I thought, like, this is how I do it, and sure, I could get a half an hour worth of energy out of it, no problem. But making that switch to pieces of fruit and handfuls of nuts and seeds just makes it so easy. And then you get the extra, a little bit of calorie, a little bit of blood sugar, so then you can make good choices about meals. Those don't have to be your choices. A lot of people will choose to have cut up veggies with hummus.
I always have that for myself.
You make it really easy on yourself by having those available.
Yeah, and I don't buy into this is so annoying that every Sunday I have to, prep things. Whatever. I just let it go. It's not. I'm so blessed that I have the opportunity to do it. I'm so blessed that I live somewhere that I can nourish my body with healthy foods. I'm so blessed that we can afford healthy foods. Like, I focus on the blessings. Yeah. And I'm also so grateful that I realize that healthy foods make me feel so much better. And once you actually catch that in consciousness, you don't turn back.
Yes. It's another mindset switch that is extremely helpful, because these situations are going to arise, but you've got that ingrained in you.
Well, I mean, why would I ever want to poison myself?
That's right.
That's
right. The other component here is keeping your body hydrated.
Oh.
Sometimes it just takes a liter of water to reset.
I annoy you so... I annoy
it's
them.
So annoying.
I annoy them with the water. But,
you guys have no idea.
But if they feel annoyed with the water, they have no idea what your life is like. What's the number one question I ask you like every day?
How much water do you drink? Oh, it's so funny because I noticed Ariana Huffington was posting again about sleep this week, and then a university out here created sleep pods in their library where kids can go sleep, and I thought, okay, it's coming back, and Amy's going to get back on her water because this is her theme of the year.
Yeah.
For sure. It's so funny. When it comes to cortisol management, we talked about sleep, we talked about diet and water. They're very important. But then there's also vitamin mineral recommendations that can be extremely helpful. Mm-hmm. You know, we know now that our food is pretty low in magnesium, and a lot of people are suffering with low magnesium, and they're suffering from increased stress, increased muscle tension, and poor immune function, and magnesium might be the culprit. And
as strange as it sounds, during my whole healing, you introduced me to magnesium, and I would take it before bed, and it helped me in 3 ways. It helped me with actually relaxing to be able to go to sleep. I didn't have to take anything further than magnesium, which is, when you hear what people are prescribed, that felt amazing. The second thing is that my stress was showing up as a chronic injury in my neck. Mm-hmm. And this, just taking magnesium, completely relaxed it.
That was enough for you.
And it helped me completely heal this chronic injury. And thirdly, it helped with digestion. Because when I was super anxious, my digestion was completely off. But taking this in magnesium at night completely just helped my digestion. And it's all I needed. And it was like a tablespoon of liquid magnesium at the time.
Well, it's most likely because you're able to slip into parasympathetic response. You're able to go from sympathetic fight or flight to this rest and digest because you're able to calm your entire body.
But it's amazing that that's all I needed. If I had talked to anybody else at the time, I feel like I would have ended up in more of a mess.
A lot of people are in this situation, and it's an easy thing to try.
Or if I kept thinking I can figure this out on my own.
Yeah,
because
right.
I'm a highly educated person. I do this stuff for a living. I know what other people can do. I can see other people's problems. I help people work through problems. It doesn't matter how educated you are or how much life experience you have or how great you are at helping other people. We all need, at times, an outside professional to look at our situations with clear eyes and say, here's my perception of what's going on. Yeah. And that was a huge lesson for me.
Definitely. Well, and in saying that, the thing that can be most helpful is doing cortisol testing.
Yes.
Doing iron testing,
yes.
Doing B12 testing.
Yes.
If we can see, for example, the cortisol pattern is extremely important because it changes protocols. If you're having high cortisol at night, we use some very gentle herbs to blunt that. Mm-hmm. Ashwagandha is a herb I use all the time when people have racing mind at night, and it calms it, it turns it down. In combination with the magnesium, it even works better. Yeah. A lot of people are having no release of cortisol in the morning. They may be getting their melatonin shut down in the morning, which is good because that'll wake you up, and then your eyes are open, and then there's no energy. It's this lethargy for 2 hours. And the possible mechanism is a lack of cortisol and adrenaline first thing, and we have things like licorice and B vitamins, and all these things are extremely helpful in giving that a boost. Ginseng, rhodiola, all these guys can help. And they're very gentle, and they're easy to try. So cortisol testing can be helpful, but then also knowing your ferritin level, knowing where your iron is, and your B12 levels. It's so helpful.
And the testing's so simple, because I'm a person that hates medical settings. It's not a secret. I probably have talked about it on here before. I get very anxious in medical settings, which is just really ironic and funny. But I was really surprised with how simple getting my B12, my iron, all those things tested was. And then knowing, because I am an A-type personality, actually knowing the facts and seeing numbers was really great for me. I was grateful it happened that I did it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I find it's better to be informed as long as it doesn't create fear and anxiety. As long as you have someone to help you walk through the numbers.
And as long as you're not being over-tested. Because I also have seen that, and that drives me crazy.
Definitely.
Just, and that's when dealing with the proper healthcare provider for you and what you're, interested in healing is so, so important.
Completely agree. In this journey of weight loss, when burnout hits, because oftentimes it will, because stress comes up, overwork comes up. Number one, revert to self-care. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
And then what are the components of self-care? And the way to figure that out for you is to just try to stay centered as much as you can, set yourself up for success, and start with these easy things.
And one of the main ones with weight loss that I always remind everyone is you can want to lose weight. There's nothing wrong with that. But the point is that you have to frame it and focus and reshift your thinking around it. It can't be your sole goal. As in, the thing you think about as soon as you wake up, the thing you think about neurotically, the thing you chase. Even if you get to where you're going with that type of mindset, it's going to slip away because it's not built on a firm foundation.
Yeah, it's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. You need to put energy into it, love it, nurture it, and then you have to let it go. But the firm foundation has to be built on that you want to love your body, you want to feel good in your body, that your body is meant to naturally lie at a perfect body weight where you feel great, where you feel confident. You're meant to glow from the inside out. You're meant to feel confident in your skin. You're meant to feel free and move lightly on your toes and all those things, and you deserve it. And all you have to do is just take care of your body and do all the things that need to be done, and the results will come. You're not chasing anything, and nothing's being withheld from you. And if you can reframe that in your mind and then just do the daily things to take care of your body, which means sometimes you have a bath at night with candles and listen to classical music. Sometimes you don't go for your run, you go for a long walk in a beautiful nature spot. Those are all in the realm of self-care, but it never means that you have a hard day so you go through McDonald's drive-thru.
That's right.
That's self-abuse. That's not self-care.
That's right. I love it. Well put. That's Healthy Rebel Radio for today. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher Radio and leave us a review. For episodes sent straight to your inbox once a week, please subscribe on DamiHealth.com. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamiHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamiHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamiHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at DamiHealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us, and see you tomorrow.